What is up, Miss Village? It is good to see you. So I am Alaron Kong. I don't know if you guys know. Why else would you be here? But yeah, I am still packing up my house, which is super fun, not annoying at all. I definitely did not almost swear every word I knew because I tripped over a cord a second ago. That never happened because I'm a very calm and tranquil person who never writes about chopping up dicks because I've got stuff inside of me that I'm trying to work out. So anyway, it's good to see you guys. I am signing some more books, going to be selling a bunch of these, probably in the TikTok shop if actually I can figure it out. But all that being said, and yes, I'm moving those with my mind. All that being said, I figured I'd say what's up to you guys, see if there's any questions that I can answer, give some shout outs if I see ya, though I may not be able to shout out today because I don't have a thing inside of me, but yeah, let me give you some updates. So I am shuttering my house, as you guys know, or maybe don't. I am moving to Portugal with my lady love and many of my friends and family. I have a secret evil plan to slowly siphon my whole tribe over there. Which is slowly working. And in the meantime, I am doing research on the land and refamiliarizing myself with all of my many storylines and awesome threads. And also doing a little bit of writing so that I don't get sort of, sometimes you can get bogged down in research. And I'm a big believer that while it's important to, prepare and make like a very intelligent decision in general, you can't try to be so prepared that you never actually get off the pot, right? You must be decisive. Oof, that is, so a rat got that one. So I'm doing the research. I'm also working on a couple very cool secret projects that have been in the works for years, so they're gonna be crazy dope. And what else? Yeah, so I'm heading to my Zen place up in the mountains for the next 2 months, and that is going to be hiking every morning, getting a good sweat going, working and vibing and zenning and writing mayhem every afternoon, and then honestly getting shit faced with people from all around the world so that I can refuel the tank before I sweat it out again the next morning. And we are going to be doing some book giveaways today, which is going to be really good. And there's a couple other things that I meant to talk. So when you guys hop on, please like this thing. The hearts help with the almighty algorithm. Please share to your page. And as always, thank you for telling people about the AKU, right? I'm an independent author. I do not have a big publishing company behind me. I have my laptop, my team, my squad, and you guys, which has always been enough. You guys have made me #1 on Amazon and Audible. You guys have made me a Wall Street Journal bestseller. It's dope, but I really appreciate it. And I'm happy that I'm still on this journey with you. And yeah, just clicking some likes and, telling friends about the land really makes it easier to keep writing more books in the land. Literally helps me to keep these lights on. So thank you. What else can I hear? So let me answer some questions that we got before. What is my favorite desert? So I'm thinking it's dessert, but I'll answer both. Alaron doesn't really fuck with deserts. So the weirdest thing about me that you guys may not know is I have something called PMLE, or polymorphous light eruption syndrome, which, no joke, literally means that I am allergic to sunlight. I take injections every month. I put on sunscreen religiously and take 4 to 5 pills a day just so that I can walk in the light amongst all of you other fine folk. So I don't really mess with deserts. That's not my thing. My favorite dessert is, I'm as American, yes, both of those, please. Right. I am as American as they come. As you guys know, I like boobs, Van Damme, barbecues, and bar fights. So I love apple pie, but I almost never order it because anybody that came up, I'm 42, anyone that came up around the same time remembers when grandma or when you went to the state fair and there was that old nana that made thank you sir, that made the perfect apple pie. Just the right amount of cinnamon, just the right amount of softness, just the right amount of flaky crust. It feels like validation and love and home and family. and most of the jellied crap that is called apple pie. So I don't know, like I love it so much, I never order it because I don't know if it'll ever, it's rare that I ever have it where it lives up to the memory. Though I did have some in Chicago the other day, which was really dope, but that was the first time in years. So that is my favorite dessert and desert. So whatever your poison was. All right, let me ask from here. What type of alcohol? Yes.
First giveaway, Andrew Davis, because he said he'll take the rat book.
You'll take the rat book? Okay, dude, you get it, Andrew Davis. This one is for you. Is there an ex-girlfriend you'd like me to write her name in there, hoping that, you know, you don't want your current to, like, know about it? I mean, we can do high-stakes stuff up in here. You want to do the rat? Whatever you like. Whatever. If there's something you want me to write, right now I'm just going to write it down up in here. And then if there's something that you want me to add later, ACONG, rat book for life. For life. There's only one of these in the world. It is definitely worth as much as the other books, possibly a little bit less. It's worth something. That one is for you, sir. Boom. All right. Oh, I don't know if you guys ever saw, so I've always tried to like think outside of the box, and this is not the full book, but this is a cool little thing that I was doing forever ago, where I was like, business cards are boring. So like I actually made the first like four chapters into this tiny little book that you can hand out with some of like the artwork and stuff in there. Like some of like the reviews. It's kind of a cool thing. Maybe I'll like start doing that again, but yeah. So I will sign this little bad boy. If anybody wants this, we can ship that out to them. Not that many of these floating around anymore. Boom. So anyway, what else can I tell you? What else? Let me answer. What else can I answer? Did Richter's fiance make it to the land? James Grayson, you earned yourself some shrapnel popcorn. Shame on you. I think you guys like this. I think there's like a little bit of an S&M thing where everybody knows you don't ask for spoilers. You guys know that. Come on. What's up? But I mean, if that's your thing, I'm not going to kink shame, you know? Like, I like getting covered in chicken feathers. Well, I mean, I'm not supposed to talk about that anymore. Legally, I'm not supposed to talk about that. But no, we will not be covering that. Josh McGriff, what's up, dude? Says, when you sat down to create your cultivation system, what was your biggest roadblock? Part 2, did you draw inspiration from other stories I can go listen to? So I'll answer part 2 first. I draw inspiration from everything. I draw inspiration from, like the other day, we were in Portugal. I was sitting with like my friends and family, and I was looking across the river. There was all these people that were running and they're insanely fast. Like if you like the speed that these people are running, it's like, are you trying to show off for me, or are you running this fast the whole time? It's like literally gross how healthy they are. So I'm looking across the river and I'm like, oh, look at all these people on bikes. And then like I zoom with my phone and they're not on bikes. They're just running. It's so fucking, anyway. So I was looking at that. And like, you know, my friends and family were like, oh my God, that's really fast. And I was like, yeah, what if like there was like a global event that said, you know, survival, blah, blah, blah. And then like all of a sudden you saw 500 people just turn and look at you all at once. And then they just started coming at you like fast zombie style, like swimming across the river. Like, what would you do? And so like that sparked for me to write like a whole scene about that. I've got so many things where I've written this scene, I don't even know what I'm going to do with it. Like, it's like the Dave Chappelle fishbowl where he just like throws like the endings in there. Like, I've got so many of those. I've got like hundreds of pages of those. And so like that was something. I definitely have read like old books and new books, like Chronicles of Narnia. Like, so Seven Numerology is important to me for various reasons, but C.S. Lewis was one of my literary heroes. And the fact that things got more serious as they went on, this is one of the things that impacts the Seven Numerology for me. As far as my magic system, though, I mean, I read the same books that you guys did. Raymond D. Feist was one of my heroes. Octavia Butler, unsung hero, African-American female, who wrote in the middle of like all these other heyday people, like when Dune was coming out with Frank Herbert. She wrote very unique and amazing magic systems. But I always basically just try to ask myself the question, for what I have loved, what do I think they've gotten wrong? What do I wish they would have done? Like if there was ever a video game you played where you're like, oh, wouldn't it have been so dope if blah? That's kind of what I want. That's kind of like maybe like half of my guiding light. And the other half is that it be realistic. I think that the true power of sci-fi and fantasy is not in the zombies that you see in Walking Dead, and it's not in the Cylons that you see in Battlestar Galactica, which two are the greatest TV shows ever created. It's at the look at humanity with the backdrop of these amazing, like, you know, sci-fi fantasy elements that really let you examine the humanity. I think we're all really searching for connection in our personal lives and in our escapes. So for me, I think it's a lot easier to make that kind of connection when things are inherently consistent. So when I try to write, I think the thing that really separates the Lands magic system, there's a lot of creative things that I've done. I think I'm a relatively creative person, and I have a lot of fun with it, which I hope comes through. But the thing that really makes the Land system unique is the affinity system for the skills, right? Where it's person A might spend, 20 hours a day trying to become a sword fighter and never reaches skill level 3 because they don't have an affinity for it. And somebody else might pick up a sword and immediately start swinging it, but they're a virtuoso with it and immediately hit skill level 10. And honestly, I think that's a lot like real life. There are some things that I think a lot of us can hit a high enough skill level in general to be pretty proficient if we sort of commit ourselves. But I will never be a Stephen Hawking level physicist. That's just not what's going to happen. It's sort of like the whole Mozart Salieri thing, which is an amazing story and also something that I've drawn inspiration from. So yeah, I don't know if that's helpful. And I guess the last thing I would say in creating cultivation. So I said the first thing that I said was you get inspiration from everywhere. You have to get engaged with the world. Second thing is I try to make it inherently consistent so that I never lose focus on that it's the humanity and human connection that really makes good writing and good storytelling. And the third thing though is just write something that you would want to read. I think that if you're doing that, and I've said this 1,000 times, that it comes across in the page the same way if you're having a cell phone conversation and you can hear the other person smiling on the other end of the phone, it comes across in indelible and perhaps undefinable ways that we just don't have the words for yet, or senses that we haven't quite codified yet, right? And I think if you do that, you're going to make something fun and interesting, and out of 8 billion people, I promise you, your tribe is out there. So I hope that was helpful. Yeah. All right, let's see. Is there anything else I'm supposed to be talking about? Yeah, so please share this live. Please like me. Like me, people. Please like me. And sending gifts is cool. That's really, really cool. So let's see. Do we have another viewer we can give a free signed book to?
Yeah, it's somebody with a very complicated name. It is user 1415571464285. Strange name, but they got their boyfriend on the series, and they just started the 3rd book this morning, and they're obsessed. And shout out to them. They're gonna get a signed book sent in the mail.
Right on. So this is why you wait for your help to tell you exactly what's going on, because the joke I was going to be is I actually lost my virginity, user 515 blah blah blah. But that's clearly not true, guy. So
and let's make it not founding, because they have founding signed already.
Okay,
and
cool.
They would love more.
All right, appreciate it. Super duper super big brother guy. I don't know what it is. Not help, but super helpful.
Zordon.
Zordon, yeah. Zordon the Destroyer. But yeah, okay, so we can do, we have a forging somewhere, or are they all packed up, or what?
Number 4?
Or a God's Eye, or, no, they have 1, so they want 2? Those are, we'll figure it out. We can also just give a list to G. Yeah, it's going to be delayed by about a week, because my lovely assistant G is going to be sending them out, but we will make a list of these and just send them out at the end, including Rat Book. So that is good. All right, let's see. What else can I answer for y'all? What type of alcohol does Yoshi drink? Goblin's blood. Let's see. How did you learn to make character dialogue flow so well? Aw, Toby Kraft over here buttering me up. What's up, guy? So for me, honestly, I talk a lot of shit with my friends. And sometimes I creepily write down what they're saying and tell them to look away, because I find that, if you, I try to write an everyman, right? I really had the idea when I was writing The Land Founding to keep a lot of the classic fantasy tropes, Scottish dwarves and noble elves that are, look down their nose at people and whatever, because I love that kind of stuff. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun if we just put also made them normal people, especially the main character Richter and then his interactions with Scion. because again, I think that the true power of any story, and the reason we love stories and song and all the other sort of methods that we do it, is that we're craving connection, right? So one of the ways I do it is I hang with my people. I look at how that happens. I listen to them. If there's something that makes me laugh, whether it's a TV show or a section of a book that I'm reading, or like a song, like I will, if I'm not, I mean, I don't always ruin the party, but like sometimes I'll stop and be like, what is it that made me laugh? What is it that made me feel sad? What is it that made me angry? And I was like, can I parse out the elements of that and learn an even better way to communicate and connect with other people? And I think like a lot of things, like, you start doing that and it seems like almost impossible, but then you learn yourself a little bit more, and it's a lot easier to, so do that in the future. It's like any other skill, right? It seems impossible before you start it. But yeah, I mean, that's really it. There's something that I've been paraphrasing for the last week, and I honestly can't even remember where I heard it, because I was possibly drunk. But anyway, basically it was the idea that it doesn't matter what kind of artist you are or how good of an artist you are. You cannot spend your entire life in your creative space, like physical space, right? So like if you made like clay pots, you couldn't always spend all your time at the kiln or, at the potter's wheel. As a writer, I can't always sit in my comfy chair and with a laptop, If you're a singer, you can't always be in the studio, because no matter what you do and how good you do it, the other part of your creative process is the world. You have to get out into it. It's one of the reasons that I moved to Portugal. I've been in this country for 40 years. I've learned a lot from it. I've gained a lot from it. I've survived a lot of it. I've fought and loved and bled and laughed. But I want more. I'm hungry for more. I want to squeeze this juice of life and just let it run down my chin. So the more I'm involved, the more I'm out of my comfort zone, the more I'm engaging with new people, new things, new thoughts, right? The more I am, the more it can filter through me, grow me, and then I can share it in these books, which again, my number one goal being a writer is to make an enjoyable story, but that's not enough. It is the number one thing that is important, but it is not the only indispensable thing about this process for me. I want my works to possibly, in some small way, leave the world a slightly better place, give our people collectively a slightly better chance, right? So like when I'm so answering the original question, how do you make the characters flow? Try, learn, vibe. Like there's and accept that like it's not going to be perfect for everybody, right? Like I've written scenes, and about the same scene, I have had people write me like, you are a sexist piece of shit. I can't believe that you would say this thing is about women. And I've also had people write me about the same scene like, you are a simping piece of shit. I cannot believe that you love women so much that you do whatever. I've had people be like, you're gonna burn in hell because Christ will judge you. And I've had other people be like, you're gonna burn in, I don't know, Gaia. Because you love Christianity so much. Like, there's a bunch of fucking crazies out there, and if ever anyone's trying to write and you start feeling bad about some of the trolls or whatever press you get, just do yourself a favor. Google 1-star reviews, wonders of the world, and it just sort of lets you just know how like dumb some of this stuff is, right? Like there's a 1-star review of the pyramids. What? Couldn't do 5 sides? 1-star review. There's a 1-star review of the Eiffel Tower. What's with all the holes? Y'all run out of money? 1-star review. Like, there's some reviews that are valid. I used about 1 billion exclamation points when I wrote my first. Everything seemed really important to me. But there's also something to be said for just keep chugging along, dude. Like, grind it out, do your thing. This one has one of my old school early magnets. So this is old as hell, this book. Oh! Actually, I'm going to keep this one. This is an original. It's got the fountain on the side. Oh, shit. I've been looking for this. Just been looking for this one. This is the one that I'm keeping for me.
Oh, but you were looking for one without the number 1.
Yeah, but it's like, this is as close as we've gotten, so we'll keep up. So this is going to be the second iteration ever printed of any of my books. So that's kind of cool. But yeah. So I don't know. I hope that answered the question. Let me see if I can answer anything else. And for those of you guys that are coming on, please like, please share to your feed. Please tell friends about the AKU. Updates, working on Mayhem right now. And please send the gifts. That's very helpful. I'm working on Mayhem right now. I am doing it by listening and rereading the early books and by making sure that I write a little bit after I do that so that I'm both researching, refamiliarizing, and not getting paralyzed by my old story, because I'm this version of Alaron and you're going to get this version of the land as I evolve. So that's happening with that. Alpha Book 2 is 60 to 80% done. I think I'm still aiming for a release early January. Polly has the space. Nick is and always will be the voice of the land. He's my boy, Ace Boone Coon. I love the guy. He's actually one of the nicest human beings that I've ever met. There are secret projects that have been in the works for more than a year that I think you guys are going to be really excited about when you see. Let's see, what else? Yes.
Catawarf says, so because of arthritis, I listen to books more than I read now. How did you choose your narrator or narrators?
It's actually an interesting story to me. You guys are stuck here, so it's interesting to you too now. So when I first started writing, I didn't make an audiobook until my third or fourth book. And keep in mind, that was only 4 months long. I didn't know anything about writing, narration, and I'm pretty sure I have undiagnosed ADD, so I never really got into audiobooks. And honestly, the ones that I'd listened to were The Hobbit and stuff like that, which, they're always spoken in an old sort of, theatrical thing, and it grows, and it was good, but honestly, it bored the hell out of me. But I knew another author at the time who was like, hey man, you're leaving money on the table. You got to make an audiobook. And I was like, oh, how do I do it? And he's this and this. And I had this vision of I was going to, find the narrator, and then we'd have a bunch of beers and we'd become best friends, and then we'd, make something creative and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, you can do it through Craigslist, you can do it. And so I interviewed all these different people, and then I ended up finding somebody on ACX who, which is the business arm behind Audible. And they've always been very good to me. Shout out to ACX. And shout out to Patrick Mulligan in specific. Always been great to me. So I found this guy on ACX, and I was like, same thing. I was like, oh my God, so how's it gonna work? You'll read the book, and then you'll give me your notes, and I'm building. He goes, dude, give us a check. We'll give you an audiobook. We really never need to speak again. And I was working full-time in the hospital, and I was busy writing, busy learning the authoring game, and I honestly just didn't have time for it on my plate. So I was like, okay. And so, I cut the guy a check. 6 weeks later, he gave me an audiobook, and it was fine, I guess. It wasn't exciting. It was whatever. But I was getting really good reviews, and I was having people reach out oh, thanks so much for actually doing the audiobook now. I'm really enjoying it. And I responded to every single one of those emails and messages and Facebook DMs. And I was like, hey, so did you like it? And they're like, oh, I love this part, and I love the story. And I'm like, well, what did you think about the narration? And across the board, I was like, oh, it was fine. I just kept getting, oh, it was fine, oh, it was fine, oh, it was fine. And the land is my heart. And LitRPG is my love and passion and my love language. And I said, fine is not good enough. So I reached out to the Miss Village. I don't know how many people I had following me at the time, maybe a couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand. And I was like, guys, I don't know about audiobooks. Who do you love? And people started chiming in, and they were like, I love Will Wheaton. And I was like, who? And he's like, I love Will Wheaton. I was like, oh, Wesley. Just tell me his name is Wesley. And he's like, I love, very, very big, Samuel L. Jackson, all these different random people. And I'm like, well, I don't think they're going to pick up my call. But one of the people that they said was, I loved Patrick Roth as his first narrator for Name of the Wind, Nick Podell. And again, I knew nothing about anything, right? As far as audiobooks go. And I was like, I will reach out to these people. I reached out to Will Wheaton. Still waiting for that response, Willie. Still waiting for the response. No big deal. I reached out to the guy who played Hellboy. I think I reached out to Samuel L. Jackson. He just wrote back, motherfucker. But I reached out to all these random people, right? And Nick responded. And I did probably another round of 50 auditions for narrators around the world. And some of them were okay, and a lot of them were not. But I heard Nick, and as soon as I heard his voice, I started getting excited. And you have to understand, the worst part for me about writing books is editing. It feels like homework. It sucks. It's so boring. I've read these books like dozens of times, right? And so like by the time you're like rolling something out, you're like, dude, I know, like your eyes are just glossing over the same sentences. Which is one of the reasons it's really hard to catch all narrators' face. Like your brain literally starts getting bored, so it starts skipping ahead. At least my mind does. Again, undiagnosed ADD. But I heard him and I started getting excited about the story, right? Like I was so into it. And I was like, oh my God, I never knew audio, let alone my books. I didn't know audiobooks could sound like this. And I reached out to him and I was like, hey man, I really like what we're doing. And he's like, oh thanks, and da-da-da. And Nick is a super humble guy. He's like, who would ever want to actually know who I am? And I'm like, dude, everybody. So he's a super, super humble guy, amazing guy. And I was like, look man, I really like what you're doing. And he was like, thanks. And then I prepared to blow the whole thing up and not work with him. And I was like, but I just want to be really clear. I didn't like my interaction with the last guy. It was very business-like. I understand the purpose of that. But this is personal for me. This is love for me. This is creativity and passion. And my fans and I deserve more than this. So I need to make a good working relationship. We need to work together. We need to combine our skills to make something. I didn't do this, but we need to combine our skills to make something better than either one of us can do apart. And if you're not into that, then, you know, yeah, you're hot and you've got a great set of creative tits, but I'm not interested. And he looked at me and he was like, just so you know, we need to work together. We need to do whatever. My tits are amazing. And it was just sort of this like thing where he's like, dude, like sometimes if the writers don't really want to, you know, be involved, like I'm happy to sort of just do something to the best of my ability, but like I want to work, like I'm doing this because this is my love. And I think that's one of the things that makes Nick best in the world. He's amazing, right? He cares. He loves what he's doing. He loves that he's able to make people's lives better. And I think that comes across in the narration. It comes across in what we've been able to create. And I've been so lucky to work with him. And so long answer to that, but like I did it. I was able to find Nick because of shared passion for creation. I was able to find Nick because he's amazing and his name was out there. But the number one reason I was able to find Nick is because of the Mist Village. You guys are literally helped create the land, which is amazing. I love that as part of the lore of the AKU. And then through that, I was able to find Luke, who I'm super lucky to work with, and latest Pavi, who's really, really dope and fun and so patient with me. So patient with me. He really is. He's like waiting for a deliverable from you right now. And I've been pretending that I've been in Europe, but now he sees that I'm not for you guys. So I actually need, please remind me to contact Pavi. Sorry, Pops. Sorry, Pete. Sorry, PB. So yeah, that's how I've been able to do it. Anybody that's interested in writing a book, I absolutely believe it's worth investing in yourself. Like a good narrator, it costs more than a subpar narrator, but I don't even call them narrators. I think that narrators are people that read a book. Nick, Luke, Pavi, they are audio performers. They are pouring their skill and expertise and heart and passion into these projects. And I think that if this has taken you months to years to write a book, it is worth working with someone who can bring it to life, in my opinion. And let me just take this time to say, like, again, I'm just super lucky to be working with them, and I hope that you guys reach out and tell them how much your work means to you. Like, they operate in little gray closets lined with soundproofing, whatever, and I get a lot more of the love as the writer, but like, again, I say it all the time, like George R. R. Martin writes like an amazing series of books, but there's no way he knew how hot Jason Momoa and whoever played Khaleesi were gonna be. Like, it's just liquid sex. They definitely elevated it, in my opinion. Let alone the Chatwin sister, Yowza. So all that to say, yeah. All right, so what's up?
So
on?
we're just at 30 minutes, so you know, just so you know, we're probably gonna do one more book giveaway. We've got one top gift giver right now. I'm gonna see if we get maybe someone to overtake them, but just a couple more minutes and then we'll give away another book.
That sounds good, and I really appreciate the gifts, and I really appreciate the likes and the shares. That is super dope. I'm just now learning this new social media modality, but it does help a lot. It helps me to grow the AKU. It's like it literally directly does it. It may not seem like a lot, but it does. And for anybody watching, please leave reviews. As an independent author, that is the only thing that lets me compete with like the big established multi-billion-dollar companies. And please like the reviews that you agree with. I don't think you can do that on the phone, so if you've ever wondered or at least for Audible, so you would just need to go to audible.com and then just like whatever reviews you agree with, but it helps a lot and I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, let me answer a couple more questions and then I will move this tower of books. All right, so how do I keep track of all the quests and time constraints? Reference documents, my son. Reference documents. It is a headache. In writing, so one of the things that I love about LitRPG, in addition to the fact that it's just, fantasy and video games put together, which is sexy and awesome as hell, it's the fact that it keeps the story accountable. At least it does for good stories, in my opinion. There's definitely LitRPG books that I've read where even though there's numbers, they totally just nerf them at the end and not great. But unlike a lot of stories, in classic fantasy where it's like, how is he going to get out of this? And it's like, and then he dug deep. And because he dug deep, he discovered a magical power he never knew, and then everybody died. It's like, God, it's lazy writing. And I think it cheapens the commitment to the story. I don't think there's anything wrong with having an overpowered character. Reincarnation of the strongest sword god is awesome. Superman stories can be awesome. But I think it's always more. I think everyone likes Batman more than Superman because Batman has to overcome something. He's just not immediately strong, right? And so the accountability in that is what makes the story amazing. How is he going to get out of this predicament? How is he going to overcome odds that he shouldn't be able to? Again, it inspires us. It gives us hope in our own lives when things seem a little overwhelming. So for me, having to keep track of the quests and having to keep track of the numbers and having to keep since I share a lot of the mechanics of how my world works, with my fans, oof, man, it is not easy. And if I change something in month 2 of writing, I have to go back through the entire book again and make sure the numbers are consistent because one thing that I did wrong for this associated system, but then I'm building on these other 2 systems, and then it can mess up the whole flow of the book. So it is exhausting. But yeah, reference documents. And for me, I'm still kind of old school. I digitize everything, but I also just have a bunch of paper documents that I'll just pin up to a blank wall. Oh, and grease boards. Grease boards surround my life. Big ones, small ones, they're everything. I just find that the more senses I'm engaging when I'm doing something, the better. I think that's how the human body works, right? It's like when you guys walk into your mom's house and it smells a certain way and you immediately start triggering memories, you can relax, you can immediately whatever. Or a loved one, you hug them and you breathe in deep. That's really it for me. Engage as many senses as possible and reference documents, my son. Yeah. All right.
Last giveaway.
All right. What are we doing? What's going on?
CB Frost. CB Frost gave so many gifts. I don't even know what they all mean, but we got at least
Frost.
100 lightning.
100 lightning, dude.
And a bunch of other stuff. I'll figure out what it means later.
Word. Dope. All right. Well, I think we can give CB Frost 2 gifts then. What 2 books do you want, CB Frost? Let us know, and we'll put them on the list, and they will go out to you.
Yeah, we'll DM them.
Yeah.
Also, the music.
Oh, and also all right. So I guess I'm just.
It's in your notes. You just scroll to the top.
Yeah. Oh, I just scroll to the top. Okay, so. Oh, so not playing the music. All right, so.
Oh yeah. You can if you want, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you pull it up on yours and then we can play it?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've been doing, getting back in the creative space. So again, as you guys know, Alpha was my first release in 4 years. Several reasons for that. loosely, I felt like I was becoming like trapped by my own success, and it wasn't feeling right, creative flow anymore. Also, COVID, that sucked. I don't know if anybody remembers that. And murder hornets. Why did we stop talking about those? So that was another reason. And then another reason is that I just need to take care of my health. I was 302 pounds. In the last year, I've lost 85 pounds, less face on the face. I'm physically healthy, emotionally healthy, mentally healthy, fallen in love, moved to Portugal, putting in better practices. Health is everything. And so now I took that time though, like the creative juices are flowing, I'm having a great time, I'm trying to express myself in a lot of different ways. And one of the ways is not just writing more books, but it's working with other creatives in a bunch of different ways. And so we have made a new song and we're about to drop that beat.
Hopefully they can hear it.
And hopefully you can hear it.
Time to get lit, RPG, time to get lit. Time to get lit, RPG, time to get lit. Time to get lit, RPG, time to get lit. Time to get lit, RPG, time to get lit.
So anyway, that's a hook for a whole new song that we've written about the land, about the AKU, about you guys. And it's just the first of several that we've already done. And we're going to do for a whole new song that we've written about the land, about the AKU, about you guys. And it's just the first of several that we've already done. And we're going to do you get laid. I hope that you have a great day. I hope you travel safe. And thank you for making this possible. I always appreciate it. Be well, peace, love, perfect margarita. Bye.